Okay, now it says we're live. So, okay, hold on. It won't go. No, it's not going to connect to this. It's going to be okay, everybody. I don't know if anybody's there. We're going. We're trying so hard to get this to work. There might be a different stream.
Now while you're saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except yes, but no. Hold on.
Do you have to start all over?
Probably. Hold on. Just bear with me. I cannot hold the camera. Here, hold the camera. Point it at somebody. Point it at me if you want. I don't care. Hold on. I gotta get out of this. My channel. My channel.
Back to see if it goes live.
Okay, there it is. It is. You can see it now. If you go to home, you can see the live chat. It says 24 watching.
Cody
Okay.
Keith, thank you for your videos. They are great.
All right. Is there? Hello.
Okay, I think it's live now.
Okay. There, right. So let me turn off the volume because there's a
Okay, how does
delay.
Jan get to it?
There's a delay.
It's just flying in air on YouTube.
Flying
Let me turn the
M-Air on
volume off my
YouTube.
phone. So
Okay, do you see Maria? I'm holding the camera
hold
on
on.
her.
We're working on it. All right, there you go. So there's a delay. Okay.
He says 25 people waiting to connect. So how does Jan get it?
He has to just tap it. It's 29 watching now. So give me the phone. I don't want to be in this video.
Well,
I
you're
want
in
you
it.
guys to be in the video. Okay, here we go. Oh, look, there's on there, so I don't even need this anymore.
You see it?
Okay. No, I'm not going to marry
Jan get on
anybody.
here?
Okay,
29
he needs to
people
go to my channel, and then he'll see it listed, and it has a really bad thumbnail because I let it snap when I had the camera. Yeah. Okay, this is hi everybody. We're finally sorry about the delay. We have no idea what we're doing. This is the first time, and I really appreciate your patience in waiting for us to do this. We actually went through the introductions once before, but we were not broadcasting, so we're going to do it again. And this guy right here is going to get the ball rolling. So go ahead.
Okay, my name is Stephen Woodrum, call sign Woody. I'm up here in Wenatchee, Washington. We're the guest of Maria Langer of Flying M-Air. She's our broker on the cherry drying contract.
Broker.
We're up here through July and the first part of August with our Robinson R-44 helicopter. And
Tell them
we
about.
decided to do this live chat. She's had several positive experiences on YouTube with videos, and now we're trying this live chat. I'm a retired airline pilot. I'm part owner of Canyon State Aero, and we're up here with our pilot, Trevor.
We're not ready for Trevor yet. Tell them how long you've been flying.
I've been flying since Hitler was a corporal.
No, that's not true.
That's true.
Is it true?
That's totally true.
Oh, that's very...
I started flying at 15 years of age. I'm 66 years old now. I recently retired from the airlines. I have a little over 32,000 flying hours, about 1,100 in helicopters, and well, that's it.
Okay, all right, that's Woody. And let's go on to Trevor.
Yeah, I'm Trevor. I got all of my ratings done at Canyon State Aero.
Okay, I'm going to sign off. You got it?
We're really not knowing what we're doing here. Let's hang up on him so Trevor can talk.
You got it?
I started with 0 time at Canyon State Aero, and I got all of my ratings done, private, instrument, commercial, CFI in a year and 2 months. I've been an instructor for about 2 years. And I'm out here drying the cherries for Maria.
Okay. And Joe, who's sitting right next to me.
Been flying since about 15 out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Currently private pilot, instrument rating, AMP with both fixed wing and helicopter.
Okay, great. So Joe and Woody flew up here in a King Air, and I got some footage of that King Air earlier today, and that might show up as an extra on my channel. It depends on how good it came out. I'll try to put it up there. A King Air, for those of you who don't know, is not a helicopter. It's a twin-engine airplane, turboprop, and it goes pretty fast, and pressurized cabin, and they fly real high, and they use it to move animals around, believe it or not, but that's a whole nother story. So if anyone, now that we've got the chat in here and you've met us, you can ask us questions if you like. We'll try to answer them, keeping in mind we've got guys that fly airplanes and helicopters, and of course me, I fly only helicopters. Somebody's saying, I begin my journey to CFII in 2 months. Any tips on first jobs? I don't know.
Obviously, you've got to get your ratings, and the normal pipeline for anyone is to acquire their private pilot's license, whether it's fixed wing or helicopter. Then you have to get typically your instrument rating next, then a commercial rating, and then a CFI rating.
He's going for his CFII. He said he's starting that. So he's already well on the way. But I let you talk because other people who are listening might not know all that. So that's helpful information.
That's right. But once you get your CFI, most of the time you turn right around and work for the company or the flight school that you acquired all your ratings with.
Go back.
To build up to
People are still on the first
1,000
one.
hours
Tell them
to
go to the-
1,500 to move on down the pipeline to go to a regional carrier or in helicopters. To,
That's his ringtone.
stand by.
All right.
Hello?
So there it is right there. It's when they go
Go
into
down, go to the
home.
original one, and just send a message out for everyone on that once they switched over because they're
I don't know how to do that.
She says there's no sound.
There's no sound?
I think it's the wind.
Oh no, it's got to be sound. Is there any sound on this? The folks listening, can you hear sound? Oh, I hear her saying that there is
I think
sound.
it's the wind, Maria.
Oh, he says yes, sound. Is the wind an issue? There's not much I can do about it.
Wind is an issue.
He says sound is good. They have a problem. It's not here. Everyone says it's good. Okay. So what the problem
In
is that
other
we
words,
also
speak
have
louder.
people. We have people at a different chat that they're waiting for me, and we're trying to get them over here. There's actually a lot of people here. The wind is just starting, of course, to pick up. Let me see if I can shelter it. I just ordered a new microphone that will let me do work with the wind, with it not making a lot of noise. So, but the breeze is just picking up. It's a really pretty day here. We're up on my deck. We've got ribs in the Traeger, and that's how I get pilots up here. Is I have to put ribs in my Traeger, and I'm still waiting for one more. I don't know where he is. We're starting to wonder about that. If you want to be a helicopter pilot, a lot of people have been watching the videos. They're telling me they want to be a helicopter pilot. There's two paths you can travel to become a helicopter pilot. One path is to go into the military and check all the right boxes and do everything you have to do to get into the pilot program. That is that's the cheapest way to do it. Also related to the military, I guess there's three ways. If you go through the military and you get the GI Bill, then you'll get money that you can apply to a pilot rating. And that's kind of good because then it's cheaper. And then you could do it the way I did it, which is the expensive way, which is basically open up a vein filled with money and just start sending that out. So that's how you learn, and there's no other way to become a helicopter pilot. You eventually have to go to a flight school. I guess I'm going to turn this around. We're not really looking at anybody here. Okay, sorry, Mike, about the noise. I'm working on it. I need to get a better setup for doing this. I guess I should turn it around so you can see me. Hello. It's kind of weird holding the camera like this. I'm really not used to doing selfies. I don't like to appear on camera, which is why you don't really see too much of me.
Faster.
He's coming up now. So that's my dog, Penny. And this is Joe trying to get the other people back into this chat. Do you think you did it?
Yep.
Oh, good.
I got a couple questions already if you want me to ask on them.
Yeah.
First question.
Any tips on getting first job afterwards, getting into network? Thanks.
I don't know.
Tough one.
That's a tough one. And so the people that you're talking to here, I should just mention this. Woody's been an airline pilot most of his life. And he's the helicopter stuff is something he picked up later on. And Trevor is a flight instructor, so he's not actually in the regular job market yet. And Joe is the mechanic guy who's also learning really twin engine stuff mostly. And so he's really not in the job market either. And me, I didn't really get in the job market either. I bought a helicopter because I had a lot of money once. And I flew a lot of that and I got built up time, and that's how I did it. So as far as advice for getting jobs, this is the wrong bunch of pilots. So sorry. But we could tell you about different models of helicopters, different airplanes. The cost for a private pilot license, Woody would know that.
At our school, it's going to cost you about $10,000 to go to acquire your private pilot's license, whether it's a fixed wing, which we provide, or helicopter. And that's, in the helicopter world, that's cheap. While we're at it,
Oh, here's his car. Here's going to advertise his business here. This is Canyon State Aero. They're based down in Mesa, Arizona.
Falcon Field, Mesa, Arizona.
Great flying all year round.
Right.
And yeah, give them a call. You can fly with Woody or Trevor, other people as well. They fly Robinsons and Schweizers, and they also do airplane training.
But
So
it depends on where you want to go in aviation. You know, you've got your the typical pipeline is to an airline pilot position, which is what most young people want to do today.
because they make money.
That's right. It's got the best schedule, the best money, the best benefits. Flexibility is there. And typically, most of these young people, and it's going to cost you somewhere between $90,000 to $150,000 to go through I call it a puppy mill. You can sign up with CAE Oxford or ATP. I would suggest probably a more frugal method is to buy your own airplane and find a good instructor. And once you get through your private instrument rating, commercial, and CFI, you can sell the airplane and recoup some of your cost.
Okay.
It might be more lucrative to do it that way.
All right. So there are some more questions. One person asked what flight simulator is good for learning to fly helicopters, getting started. And I do not recommend a flight simulator to get started. I recommend that you go out to a flight school and take an intro flight. You'll get real life. And real life is really what you want to work with here.
I got a little background on that too.
All right, here. Joe's going to say something about that.
As far as background and accuracy of simulators, some of them aren't too good. Like Flight Simulator, it gives you a good intro to the types of, yeah, they just want the link there if you want to post that, to bit of helicopter reactivity and response, but they don't cover a lot of emergency things you could get into, like settling with power, vortex ring state, the auto rotations, like operating with or without rotor system, or without an engine, is not really programmed into it. So the flight mechanics are a little bit lax. There's actually a digital combat simulator is one that actually has a really good flight model for the helicopters and gives you a better feeling of what they're like. But even if you do, there are full flight simulators you can go to where you can build time per the FAA is another intro to or flight simulator type thing you can do. But for at-home stuff, really, digital combat simulator is probably one of the better ones to go to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So someone, yes, we are in Washington State. I'm trying really hard to keep up with the questions, and there's a lot of questions, and I have to apologize in advance if yours scrolls through before I see it. There's actually quite a few people here, and again, we're just, getting started on this.
If you want, is asking if you could purchase any plane or helicopter, what would it be and why would you buy it?
Who, me?
72M model.
That would be you. I think they want us to go around the pipe and say if you.
Well,
could buy
if you could buy any one, not just like any. What's practical? I think they mean like you're dreaming now. You won the lotto. I assume that's what they're talking about. You won the lotto and you want a big helicopter, or you want a helicopter or an airplane. What would you buy?
Obviously, you're never going to win the lottery.
Well, I'm just saying that.
If you want to get a fixed wing rating, I'd recommend a 172M model.
No, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about what's your dream plane.
My dream airplane?
Yeah, what's your dream airplane?
There'd be several of them.
Okay,
Every
tell us some.
airplane has a different mission.
Hiller.
Oh, there's a
Money
Hiller
was no
coming by.
object, I'd have
Apache, somebody says. If money was no object, what would be your first choice?
I'd probably have a Gulfstream G650 and hire a couple of young guys to fly me all over the place.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. What about you, Trevor?
I've only flown a few different helicopters. But as far as one of my favorite ones to fly is definitely the MD-500. Got a few hours in that. Super fun. The Jet Rangers are also fun. I've also got a little bit of time in a Blackhawk, about 40 hours in a Blackhawk, and that one's just, everyone loves how the Blackhawk looks, how it feels, how it flies. It's awesome. Super cool.
Okay. What about you? Dream aircraft.
Dream aircraft, a Cobra. I got a little bit of time in AH-1F out with Army Aviation Heritage Foundation, and that thing's just a load of fun to fly. Just draws a big crowd and makes a lot of good noise. So that would be mine.
Okay. And you guys need to talk louder, I think.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and it's the whole. Okay. What's everyone's hours? Somebody wants to know how many hours we all have. Rudy's got the most.
32,430 plus.
Okay.
I still log every day.
Yep, great. And
right around 1,000 somewhere.
There you
Not
go.
quite sure after this season, so we'll see.
I know. Let's hope it keeps raining,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And what about you?
I'm right at 500, about 250 helicopter, 250 airplane.
Oh, that's cool. And I've got about 3,700. It's all in helicopters. And Rebecca says, "Congratulations, Woody."
Rebecca,
that she's in here.
awesome.
So what other things can I answer?
They're asking what the cost for a fixed wing add-on is already as a commercial rotorcraft and instrument.
That's that Hiller coming in. He's camped down by where I am. He's probably flying right over me right now. We're looking.
Asked, how many hours you need to dry cherries, so that'd be.
Oh yeah.
3 days.
When I hire guys to fly cherries, I want them to have 500 hours in helicopters, and I want them to have at least 100 hours in the one that they'll be flying, which is probably going to be an R-44 because I prefer those. They are the best bang for the buck as far as cherry drying goes. And the reason I want so many hours is because you really need to really know the aircraft well, and you need to have good hovering skills. We ran into that today. It was super windy up in the orchards, and it was hard to dry. It was really hard to dry, and the more time you got, the more you're able to handle those situations. So that's what I look for. Other guys might take less, but I really want at least 500 hours in helicopters. And yeah, the view. A lot of people commenting on the view. This is we're up on my deck, and this is the view from my house, and I'm loving it too. That's the city of Wenatchee down there between Woody and Trevor. That's the Columbia River that you see, and I don't know what else to say. You could see the North Cascades off in the distance. People want to know why I want an R-44 is because it is the least expensive per seat to operate helicopter. It does a fine job. It's got a good record of safety, despite what the naysayers might say. Most aircraft crashes, and you can read the reports in the NTSB, most aircraft crashes are pilot error. And some of you know that I've been in a crash, and my crash was pilot error. I was an idiot, and I crashed. So it's not the helicopter that caused the crash. The helicopter is what saved my life, because I probably should have died. So I like the helicopter. It's a really good helicopter. Not very expensive to own and operate as far as helicopters go. And I have really low tolerance for people who bash Robinson. So don't go there with me.
So don't tell them I like Hillers because
You don't like Hillers. Yeah, that's because you're a wrench. So what else? Any other questions? I thought I saw one go by for Trevor. I don't know. What else can we say?
There's a bunch of questions coming in.
A10 flybys? No, not lately.
Someone said, I heard it's the best to get fixed wing, then get a helicopter rating. Is that the best way?
I don't think so, personally.
I don't think it matters.
As a flight instructor, no. For helicopters, it's easier to get helicopter than go fixed wing. There's a lot of bad tendencies you pick up from fixed wing than go into helicopters. Just because of the way that they fly different.
Yeah.
Someone asked how long does drying last for cherry season?
Cherry season moves, so it starts early, like in April down in California, and then goes into Oregon, and then it comes up to Washington, and we get the end of it, although they might do some more in Canada. My season here, this year's really short. I think I'm getting 11 weeks, something like that. You're looking for the dog? He's right here.
Oh, okay.
So, any advantage to training in the U.S. over Europe? Probably cost. I would think it's got to be cheaper here.
Way cheaper in the U.S.
Way cheaper.
In Arizona, we have tons of foreign flight schools. A lot of Asians, Europeans.
Germans for Lufthansa.
They always
Lufthansa
come
trains
over
in Arizona, which is kind of weird.
I mean, for instance, fuel is anywhere from $5.50 to $6.50 a gallon. Over there, they're paying $15 a gallon for.
That's just fuel.
That's just fuel. And they're very compromised by airspace and regulatory restrictions as well. So that's why Arizona having, full year-round flying weather, even though it's super hot.
In the summer.
Tons of flight schools over here in Arizona catering to the, foreign nationals.
Yeah.
Okay, you got one person
Some-
asking
Someone said that Canada's cheap too. Should point that out.
Asking, doesn't the wind dry the cherries for you? So why do you need helicopters?
The wind does not dry the cherries good enough, and there's not enough wind. The wind doesn't always blow, so that's the answer.
Fair enough. And they're also asking, best way to get, is it better to get fixed wing than helicopter? Is that the best way? It definitely is, because if you're looking to get both, it's a lot cheaper to do the fixed wing than helicopter way.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Way cheaper.
If you want both.
Yes.
Add-ons
Right.
have
I
less
agree with that.
regulatory problems.
But if you're going for one
It's in my blog,
overall,
The Crash.
like helicopter versus airplane, looking to do airplane to make it cheaper, then switching over to helicopter, the cost adds up more if you're just primarily sticking with one. If you want both, then it's definitely cheaper to get airplane than helicopter.
Okay.
Now,
Someone wants to know how I came about owning my own helicopter. I had a lot of money at one time. I don't anymore. I have a helicopter. I used to, my second career was as a freelance writer, and I did really well writing books about how to use computers. Go on Amazon, put in my name. You'll find all those old books that nobody wants anymore. But while that was doing well, I made a pretty good amount of money. I learned how to fly. And then I bought an R-22, and I flew that for 4 years, and then I sold that and bought the R-44 that I had until last year. When I managed to lose that one, I bought the one I've got now, which is, I call him Mr. Blue. And when I was a kid, I always wanted to fly helicopters. My first ride ever in an aircraft was in a helicopter with my dad, and it stuck with me my whole life. And I'm working on a memoir, and it's going to tell you all this stuff, so I shouldn't give you any spoilers.
That's a pretty good question. Someone's asking, what's been each person's scariest experience flying, and what did they learn from it?
That's a good question. Anybody want to take that? Who take it?
I've had a couple different ones. Some in helicopter, some in airplane, but probably the worst of them was my first run with density altitude as a young private pilot of about 50 hours.
Ooh.
Going up to Payson, it's an airport with a density altitude around 7,000 to 10,000 in the summer, only about 4,000 in winter. So went in there. It was smoky. It was hot. It was mid-afternoon on the way back from going up to get breakfast there. It's a popular place in northern Arizona. But ended up taking off on the runway, staying in ground effect to build some speed. Picked up. They got to about 100, 200 feet or so, and full power descent. Couldn't maintain altitude. Ended up making it over in the canyon next to me to try to give myself some more time to think about what I can do. About ready to declare emergency. Carb heat was left on. Had a passenger accidentally flipped it on.
Oh.
Raw power from the engine. Was able to get the carb heat flipped back off, and only got about 50 foot per minute climb out before I was able to clear the canyon, get back over the hills, and get down to lower territory.
Yeah.
Definitely learned density altitude. Don't mess with it from that one.
I had a similar experience in Flag in an R-22 with my ex on board. Anybody else want to say scary experience?
What you learned?
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Definitely give myself some more time to think about
You gotta turn the volume off. You gotta turn the volume off. Woody, turn the volume off.
Being a flight instructor,
Oh, brave man.
handful of the scariest moments.
Get though.
It's not anything that the students typically do on purpose. It's just from lack of knowledge, and that's why you have to have an instructor with you. And be prepared for anything that they may or may not do. A good example is, and one that's easy and everyone can understand, is when we practice, we simulate engine failures. They're called auto rotations, and that's how to land a helicopter after you lose an engine. You roll the throttle off, enter an auto rotation, use the wind coming up through the rotor blades to maintain RPM, and as you flare, in a practice setting, you roll the throttle back on, regain the power, and land in a controlled hover, and that's how we practice them. We don't actually cut the engines off. And the throttles on helicopters are opposite, especially for guys that ride motorcycles. It's opposite hand for the throttle too, but motorcycle and everything else is you roll your throttle hand down, that's gas, and throttle hand up is takes away throttle. On a helicopter, it's different. It's on your left hand. If you roll it into you,
I'm gonna move out of the wind. Go ahead.
that is, taking throttle away, and then you roll it away from you to roll power on, and you'll be in an auto and flare, and the student will roll the power off as opposed to rolling the power on. So a couple of moments like that are scary, but a lot of CFIs share those experiences. So that's a handful
Trying to get the out of the wind a little bit. The wind's, of course, picking up. I'll just move back here a little bit. Woody, you got to share any scary experiences?
Oh, I've had a boatload.
I bet.
I'm now picking this up on my phone.
There you go. But you don't need to pick it up on your phone. You're in it.
32,000 hours. I've had 8 honest engine failures
Jeez Louise.
over that time.
8 engine failures, he said, in 32,000 hours.
I've had 2
And that's Penny barking at
events
Gary.
of smoke in the cockpit. That's what they call it, smoke in the cockpit.
Okay. Of course, Penny has to bark.
Belly landings. Over here wouldn't come down.
Belly landings, too. I don't know if you folks can hear him, so I'm repeating it.
Yeah. Here would
Shoot.
and one partial belly landing where my left main wouldn't extend. That's the 401
Wow.
ages ago. So I've
Woody's way more interesting than I am. That's for sure. Woody's got more stories.
so it's been a scary experience.
Scary.
Time.
Wait, I gotta. Uh-oh. Gary, you're missing the chat. That's Gary down there. And Lori.
And also,
Gary's another.
Also, I've almost killed myself twice. One for Schweizers
Okay.
with self-induced problems.
Okay. Yes, pilot error, right?
Pilot error.
Okay.
Not so proud to.
Whoop.
I created my own emergency device. I almost took out one of our helicopters twice.
All right. My dog is barking because she can't stop. So he was talking about what Woody was saying. The dog ran downstairs. So what Woody was saying was that he's had a lot of experiences, belly landings and problems in the Schweitzer and all that. Hopefully, did they bring corn? I think they brought corn too.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now we're in big trouble. So, I don't know if Gary wants to come up and talk. The wind is picking up, and I'm starting to think that maybe it's time for us to call this off. I would like to do this again. This is probably the only time I'm going to have all these pilots here with this barking dog at one time. Maybe we'll pick it up again later on inside. I know Gary has to leave later. But I don't have the right equipment to be doing this in the wind, and I don't want to make a crappy video. So I'm going to call it quits right now. And thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for your patience in us getting this to work. Thank you for your patience in us not answering all your questions. I really appreciate your support. I appreciate you tuning in. And if this video is something I can put online after the fact for other folks who missed it, I will, and then they can see how awful it was. But it's the first try, and we will do better in the future, or I will do better in the future. Woody and Joe are leaving tomorrow in the King Air. Trevor's around for a little while, and Gary's going back to Utah tomorrow. Up here, he's advertising here. Canyon State Aero. Really, go down there. I learned to fly in Arizona, and it's really good. All right, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody. If I can figure out how to turn this off, I will. I think I do this. Yes.